Crown Jewel was a good pay-per-view, it was, but it featured multiple matches, specifically the Crown Jewel title matches, which I felt should have felt a lot more important than they did. But don't get me wrong, there was also a lot to love on the pay-per-view as well, and we're going to get into all of that. Welcome to Allison Analysis. I'm Ben Allison, and I've analysed the Crown Jewel PLE event, and here are my 5 key findings. Before we get into it, if you could like and subscribe, that would be massively appreciated, and leave a comment as well, it really does help us out. And here at Wrestling Republic, we create between 7 to 10 free videos per week, and in addition to that, we also have a live stream every single day, 8 PM UK, 3 PM Eastern, and 12 PM Pacific, so make sure to check that out as well. Thank you. In at number 5, I'm more invested into Kevin Owens than I have been in years. The build up to his match against Randy Orton was absolutely fascinating. The fact that he was so convinced that Randy was the one who turned on him, but also you could kind of just about understand where he was coming from. I thought it was really good storytelling. The commentary team sold it so well as well in the build-up to the match. When they were coming down the ring for their entrances, they really made it seem like Kevin Owens was just going insane. But then, well, it quickly became clear that Kevin Owens had zero interest in a match against Randy Orton. He wanted a war instead, and he got one. The two brawled through the arena, and I do understand why some people don't like the fact that an advertised match on a PLE didn't happen. But at the same time, if they did this exact angle on a SmackDown, it wouldn't have felt as big, because it would have kind of been predictable. The fact that this happened on a PLE, and WWE very rarely nowadays don't do matches which they advertise, well, it kind of made it feel a little bit unpredictable. And I really did not expect this match to just not start until obviously the Raw started, in which case, yeah, it became obvious at that point. And from here, I'm really interested to see where it goes. Did this write off Randy Orton for quite a few weeks? Could Kevin Owens now face Cody Rhodes perhaps at Survivor Series? Or will we run back Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at Survivor Series? I don't know, and I love the fact that I don't know. Or perhaps even a triple threat. And in at number 4, the women's tag division is now the best booked tag division in North America, in my opinion. Just a few months ago, people were saying we need to get rid of the women's tag team division, that they're not being utilized correctly, so they should just get rid of the belts. And I was furious when I heard that claim, because my point was, why should the division suffer just because of bad creative, because of bad booking? But thankfully, WWE ignored the noise and instead focused on making the division better, and boy oh boy did they. The division now has a handful of challenges for both Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. But not only that, but at Crown Jewel we had a fatal 4-way, and going into the event, multiple fans on X were furious that certain teams weren't included in it. So not only do you have more than 4 teams, which was an upgrade on before, but you have about 6 or 7 that could have made a case for being in this match. And if I'm being honest, that's the only tag team division in North America right now I think you can say that for. And to me, along with the US triple threat, I thought the fatal 4-way tag match stole the show. It was brilliant. The innovation was off the charts, and it was just such a fun match. It was one of perhaps the only matches on this show which I thought really lived up to its potential, and potentially even succeeded it. In at number 3, I did not expect Solo Sikoa to pin Roman Reigns cleanly. I mean, this was pretty much the biggest surprise of the pay-per-view for me. I thought the Bloodline were going to win, but I thought there was going to be some interference, or perhaps Hikuleo would debut. But no, Solo Sikoa did it. Pretty much clean. Meaning that Solo, in the past 12 months now, has pinned John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. Wow. WWE clearly have big plans for Solo. And yes, at times he's not always had the best reactions, but the crowd is starting to get louder and louder and louder for him now. I actually think fans are a bit too harsh on him at times. I mean, he constantly improves, his matches are always decent, and on the mic he's gotten a lot better. I mean, I don't really know what else you can ask for him. I mean, he definitely did get called up from NXT way too early, but that's not really his fault. And like I said, he constantly is improving, so I think fans are being a bit too harsh on him. I mean, from here, it's obvious they're heading towards a War Games, but the big question is, will it be a 4v4 or a 5v5? Call me traditional, and it probably won't happen, but I really want to see a 5v5 just because, like I said, I like traditions. In at number 2, Tiffy's cash-in attempts took away from Liv Morgan vs Nia Jax. The clash between a WWE and World Champion should feel monumental. It should feel like a clash of titans. But Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, well, it didn't really feel like that. And instead, it kind of just entirely focused around Tiffany Stratton and her Money in the Bank briefcase. And listen, I understand it, and I love cash-ins, but that shouldn't have been all the match was. Realistically, what should have happened was they should have given Liv and Nia a bit more time. They should have let them go about 10-15 minutes before Tiffy came down and then got involved, and then we had a few minutes of, potential cash-ins. That I would have been fine with, but pretty much from like the second minute, Tiffy came out there and was considering cashing in, and I didn't like that at all. And it kind of made the two women's champions feel not as important as they should have, and it made Liv's victory feel less important as well. But I will shout out Liv Morgan for a second, right? Because she did an interview after the show on the post-show, whatever it is they call it now, and it was brilliant. It was one of the best interviews I've seen in so long. And admittedly, it wasn't really a heel interview, but it did make the Crown Jewel Championships feel 10 times more important than WWE had made them seem. I mean, Liv Morgan was crying, talking about how much it means, and that was awesome. And also, she spoke about saving a stray cat, and I'm a cat lover, so I'm now a Liv Morgan lover as well. And in at number 1, Cody Rhodes vs Gunther was a great match, but it felt like it was missing something. And that something was stakes that truly mattered. And maybe it was just me and everyone I've talked to about it, but it just felt like throughout Cody vs Gunther, the stakes weren't quite high enough, and it didn't really feel like whoever won, well, really won anything. It didn't feel like the monumental champion versus champion match you'd expect, and therefore it's a bit harder to properly get invested into it. Our very own David Sheldon said to me on the watch-along we were doing for it, that if it was for the WWE Championship, with that exact same match and that exact same match structure, we would have all been far more invested into it and enjoyed it a lot more, and I think he's right. And don't get me wrong, it was a good match. In fact, it was probably a great match. But it won't be a match which I'm going to go back and rewatch. It won't be my match of the year list. And Cody versus Gunther, champion versus champion, well, it kind of should be. And I know one man had to take the loss. Of course they did. And in part, that's why I hated these titles, because I hate the idea of champions losing. But Gunther taking a pin, I really don't like it. He's meant to feel invincible. Surely you could have had him cheat to win, but then it would have been the same as the Liv match. They booked themselves in a corner, and I understand it. I do. And Gunther, he's not hurt by it, but it kind of just frustrates me. But am I overreacting? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. That's all my analysis for Crown Jewel. I'll be back on Tuesday to give you my analysis for Monday Night Raw. Once again, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!